Welcome to another episode of High Stakes with Steve Rozenberg. And this is where we talk about real life, real business, and more important, real situations. Now, you'd have to be living under a rock or maybe not even owning a smartphone or TV to understand that the economy and the world is changing. Well, let me rephrase that. The economy and the world is always changing. It's just changing at a much faster pace that we are realizing right now. It's kind of like an ocean. The ocean currents are always moving. It may look like it's still water, but the currents are still moving. I look at that as the economy. The economy is moving and it moves back and forth all the time. It goes up, goes down. We have summer, we have fall, we have winter, we have spring, and then we have summer again. So it's a cycle. Just like the seasons and the weather, depending on where you live, the economy is the same way. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up because my guest today is talking about how many people in general, I would say probably don't plan like they should, especially the younger generation, because we all know when we're young, we don't want to be old like me. We think we're going to be young forever, and we think that we are invincible and we can make as much money as we need, and we don't need to do a thing called saving our money or investing our money. And my guest today, Dawn, has created a platform so that you could actually get in touch with someone like her that on a normal basis, you would not be able to do that. And I look at that as one word. It's called leverage. But it's really a matter of understanding how to get to the masses with something like a platform, like an app, leveraging a tool to be able to get to someone like her. So today's guest is Dawn Dahlby. Dawn, thanks again for being here today. Appreciate it.
I'm so excited to be here too. Thank you.
All right. So you have this awesome platform, but before we even go into that and how you're giving people that normally would not get access to you, how you're giving them access to you, which I think is freaking awesome. Do you mind just kind of winding back a little bit and tell people who you are and how you even got to be an awesome platformer?
Well, here's the thing. I am old and full of wisdom, just like you, Steve.
Yes.
The only difference is, I don't know exactly how old you are, but the only difference is it's acceptable for me to wear extensions, maybe not so much for you.
Well, if I wanted, I could have long flowing locks. I'm just throwing it out there. I could have, I mean, it's a choice.
But it has to hook to something.
This is true. I don't have anything for it to hook to. Right. Staples. We could staple it.
We could staple it. But thank you for having me. So I'm Dawn Dahlby. I've been a wealth advisor for the last 2 decades. I've been sitting in client meetings one after another. And I realized that us advisors have really gotten it wrong in terms of how we've given advice. We've given advice maybe that benefits clients 50% of the time. But the real advice is teaching them not only how to build wealth, but how to live and enjoy their wealth as well. And I call that living wealthy, WELLthy. And Steve, just like you said, there's seasons of times, right? There's fall, winter, spring, summer, and things are happening at a faster pace right now because of technology, because of the information that we all have access to. And so what's really interesting is I'm trying to do the same thing as things start, the noise of life happens and it happens faster. I want to leverage that noise. And I've opened up this platform that normally people that are just starting their wealth building journey would not have access to, because to people like me, like the people that I've helped one-on-one in my firm is, you have to have a 7-figure investment portfolio to qualify to work with us. And I was sitting in these meetings and I'm like, God dang it, the people that really need our help and support are the people that want to be the millionaires. And they just, what are their choices right now? Their choices are to go to a bank and talk with, a salesperson that disguises themselves as a wealth advisor. And, they're going to be sold a product because we don't make money, right? Us advisors don't make money on the younger generation because they haven't built up the wealth enough.
Right.
So I was like, well, gosh, how do I really take this second half of my career and create this platform that's going to allow, through technology and through fast, the fast world that we live in, give people the right type of what I call fiduciary advice from a certified financial planner that's going to help them not only build their wealth, but also enjoy their wealth and live wealthy, which is also having a great relationship with money.
That's awesome. It's great that you do this. And I think more people probably need to give back Just give back in knowledge, right? Give back in help. And, look, it's one thing to say, I want to help people. It's something else to actually put your money where your mouth is and actually take action, which is what you've done. Let me ask you this question first. Let's just say people that are of the younger generation. Would you say that do people talk to you because they're afraid of being poor or because they're focused on being wealthy? Like, are they running away from the fear of being broke, or are they running because they want to be wealthy and they understand what that actually means?
I believe people come to me 100% of the time because of fear. And it's the fear of running out of money. And people have this, this yin and yang type of relationship with money that we all love it. We all want more of it. I've never met anyone that doesn't want more money. But also people, you have to get to a point of when is enough. And I think people come to me the fear of running out of money and not having enough. But I also believe that people don't take a time enough to take a step back and go, like, why am I chasing more money? Like, what is the reasoning behind the why of why I'm chasing money, and then how much is enough? And I think that's the catalyst there, is that it's okay to want more. Like, I want more money. Steve, you do too. Like, it gives us more opportunity, more freedom, more life experiences. Like, who doesn't want more money?
Right.
But it's okay to be in a position of wanting more, but knowing that you have enough. And that's why people come, because they fear there's not enough.
So, and I've always heard this, people don't want their bank account to run out and they still have life left in them, which basically is running out of money, and they're out of, maybe they have another 5 years of living and they have no money. So they outlived their bank account, which I think is a fear for most people. And it's probably more and more of a reality, I would say, not for lack of, I'll take a bit of a diversion here. I think that the school system that you and I probably were raised under, they teach us to be good employees. A good employee gets a good job. Then we buy a house, which leverages us in debt, and then a car and all these. So we're always just right here. You get a bigger paycheck, you buy a nicer car, you buy a nicer house. And so it's kind of, we're feeding the machine. And again, this is just my opinion. I could be way off, but I feel that we're taught as students to be employees. We're not taught to be entrepreneurs. We're not really taught they need the rank and file. I mean, that's how society works. And so when all of a sudden that at the end of the rope and they say, yeah, we've changed the rules and we're not giving you what you were learned in school. We're not fulfilling that promise, quote unquote. You're kind of stuck. And so my question is always like, you've got the young people doing that. Would you say when you're dealing with wealthy people, right? Let's say they have enough money, right? They've got more than enough money. I've met some people that their actual fear is heightened even worse, because now that they've made it, they're afraid to lose it. So it's actually a worst case scenario because a lot of people think like, oh, if I just had $1 million in the bank, I'd be so happy. That is not true. And that, again, that's my perspective. I'm curious your take on that.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. But I agree with you. The more money people have, the bigger their problems are, and the more that fear comes into place. That's why I became the world's, the nation's first, probably the world. Let's just say the world, but
let's do it. Why not? Worldwide.
Right. Woo! Worldwide. A behavioral financial advisor, because at any income level, at any asset level, whether you have $10,000 or you have $10 million or you have $100 million, the fear is always there. And we need to work on our mindsets and how to, there's a couple of things. We do need to work on our mindset and how to deal with that fear, because the fear is never going to go away. The fear doesn't go away at the $1 million, at the 7 figures, the 8 figures, the 9 figures. It doesn't go away. You have to work on your mindset, but you also have to work on, having the technical tools on how to protect that wealth and how to diversify and how to grow that wealth most appropriately. Because, you said, people are afraid of running out of money, of course. I have clients that want to literally leave $1 to their kid, like they want to die with $1 in their bank, which we always joke about. I've heard that over and over and over again. But the reality is, for your clients, Steve, and for my clients, they're going to have millions of dollars. They're going to have millions of dollars to pass on to their children. And so the fear with those type of clientele is really about understanding how do you use the word earlier? How do you leverage your money, and how do you minimize your tax bracket, and how do you get more technical or hire the right type of professionals, if you will, to be technical with your wealth so you can help address some of that fear. So it's a combination of mindset and having the right partners, if you will, in your life to help overcome that fear, because we're emotional creatures, right? We're fearful all the time. It's how we were created.
Well, yeah, our brain is set to protect us from things that could go wrong. And so it tells us if it's something that we're not familiar with, they go, don't do it. If somebody sounds too smart to you, they go, you better stay away from that guy because he could steal from you. So there's always, whenever, and I coach a lot of people, and we talk about being business owners, and everybody always tells me what could go wrong. And I'm like, but there is a chance it could go right. I mean, you started this on the premise that it's going to go right at some level. I don't know what that ratio is in your mind, but we have to at least accept the fact that we're hoping for the right. We protect and mitigate against the worst. It's like, I'm an airline pilot. I fly Boeing 777 aircraft all over the world. We know there's a chance that we could crash and die, but we're kind of banking on the fact we're going to make it. I mean, we're more odds better than not that we're, what would you say if I said, hey, today we're going to Hawaii. We've got about a 50-50 shot of making it. We're not really sure, but we feel pretty good today that we're going to make the island. You're going to be like, I'm not getting on this freaking plane, right?
Oh, no, I can barely get on an airplane, let alone all the statistics the way they are now. Like, if there's one fear, like, I don't fear public speaking. I fear that damn airplane, which is so funny. I'm sitting here talking to a pilot. But yeah, we all have these irrational fears, whether it's fear about the airplane, whether it's fear about money. In fact, I use analogies with flying an airplane and money all day long with my clients, because your money, that fear about your money that we all have, your portfolio should be built like an aircraft. Like, it should be built like your boat, like where it can weather all types of turbulence and weather all types of storms. And where we know, and you know better than I do, Steve, is that statistically, you got a 99.9999999% chance of getting to your destination, right?
Yeah.
It takes 18 years for you to fly every day, every hour of the day for something to happen. So, but let's use your life and your, like, as a pilot to running money. It's the same thing. Like, if you build your portfolio like they build an airplane, my gosh, it should perform way better than that 50-50 stat you just threw out.
And by the way, we're better than 50-50, but I'm going to I'm going to throw you a bone here to give you something for your clients when you talk to them. And this is an analogy I use on stages, and it really hits home. Okay. So you get on a plane, you board an aircraft that I'm flying, right? I'm heading to Amsterdam later this week. You get on the plane, and what do? You turn right. You go down, you buckle up, you sit in your seat, you put on your headphones, not a care in the world. You pretty much assume your luggage is going to make it. You're assuming there's enough fuel on board. You're assuming everything's okay. You're more concerned if you're going to make your connection in Amsterdam than you are living across another 4,500 miles in the air. But you know what you never do? And I bet you've never done this. You've never turned left. Do you know what's left? Mm-hmm. Left is where we are. It's the cockpit. Mm-hmm. You don't know me. You've never met me. You have no idea what kind of day I'm having, if I'm qualified or not, but you trust me. You inherently trust me. Why? Because I'm an expert, because I'm a professional, because I'm trained. There's a big assumption there, right? You're just assuming. Yes. Now, when people have their finances and they have their business, they think that they should fly the plane. They think they should jump in and tell the pilots what to do with their money. In 30 years as an airline pilot, I have never once, ever had a passenger come up to the cockpit in bad weather, in a delay, hey, Steve, I think I got this today. I'm going to just step in and take care of this because my life. So I tell people, you trust me with your life and you don't know me, but you don't trust your financial advisor with your financial life. And yet you actually picked them, interviewed them, talked to them, and you see it. All you're staring at is a door, and you're trusting me. It's a good analogy for you to use in the future.
Absolutely. And life and money, probably the two most emotional things that we all fear for, right? And money to me is just based on life. If you don't have money, you don't have oxygen, right? Money's like oxygen. You need it to survive. And so we all want to survive. And it's really about doing your due diligence, right? Like, like, Steve, I wouldn't get on, like, you would probably tell me something different. Maybe not, like, but I'm very careful on the airlines I fly because I have trust in this. I have trust in certain airlines that they have the.
But is this
And
based
maybe I'm
on,
wrong.
but what do you, let me ask you this. What are you basing that on?
I'm basing on my lack of knowledge and my fear of the unknown.
Right. But like the airlines you don't pick, it's not like they crash because airlines don't really, I mean, the last crash we've had has been a long time ago. So it's not like you go, I'm not taking X airline because they crash every week. Like it's
Right.
you know,
Yep.
now you may not take them because you know what, they lose my fucking bags all the time, or they're late, or they're poor service. And that may be a reason, or you know, you have mileage and you have customer care. And I tell people, now here's an example. There are airlines that you trust that you fly all the time, just like you said. Maybe it's American Airlines, let's say, and you fly American Airlines all the time because you have miles, you trust them. And then there's the airline that under any circumstances, very, very, very last resort, you will use them. You don't like the experience. You don't like anything about it. They're still going to get you from A to B. Do you want to be the cheap airline that nobody wants to use, but they use because it's a last resort? Or do you want to be the airline of choice and the one everyone uses? And that's, you know, when you're a business owner, you go, do I want to be the cheapest out of default? Because that's just a matter of time until someone knocks you off. Or do I want to be the one that everyone uses, the one that has the relationship and all that? And, you know, one thing I've learned, I'm curious your take on this, is that a lot of people, when they want to be financially secure, right? They want to be wealthy, quote unquote wealthy, which I think it's funny. I don't think anybody has ever looked up the definition of wealthy or rich, but we'll just say they want to be wealthy. And they say they want to be wealthy. And I go, what does that mean to you? I want to have, you know, freedom, right? They always use this word freedom. I'm like, well, you could sell all your shit tomorrow and go live in the park and be free. Nobody will care. Like, you can get rid of everything you own and live in your car. So it's not necessarily the freedom. It's what the freedom buys you, meaning the memories. So I don't believe that we're chasing freedom. I believe we're chasing one step further, which is memories. The business or the wealth buys you the freedom to go to Greece and have dinner on the Mediterranean because that's the memory you're creating. You know, going to safari, going to see the Rolling Stones in Wembley Stadium. It's the memories. That's really all we're buying, because you can't take any of the shit we have with us, right? Our final destination is 6 feet under, or wherever you want to go. That's our destination. The journey and the memories we create on the journey. And so I'm just curious, like, how do you explain that to someone that's wealth?
You know, you call it memories. I call it experiences, which is the same thing, right? You're just going backwards and saying, I've created all these memories, and you're looking backward, and I go, I'm creating experiences. And I want, and here's the reason why that wealth, the wealth number always changes on the dashboard. Is because what's that thing that's called on the dashboard that moves? Come on, pilot. Like the target, not the target, but the
compass?
Odometer.
Oh,
the odometer. Yeah. So that thing. So
for the record, there's no odometer in the cockpit, just to be clear.
Okay. Okay. And I've never been in there because I always go right, not left, because I trust the pilot. But the reality is we all want these experiences, and the wealth continues to move. And the reason why that number continues to move is because we are constantly growing human beings. We're evolving. While I'm on this podcast with you, Steve, I'm going to walk away from this podcast a different person. Like, we are constantly growing and evolving. And what happens is that never will stop. In fact, I don't believe it stops the day you die. So with that said, is we're always trying to look for the new and more and better. You're the dude that doesn't want to sell his shit, and you know, he could live in freedom today, but that's not going to serve him. No. That's going to serve him today. He's a growing human being, and that's why he's not going to make that decision to do that. So we constantly evolve and change, and that's the beautiful thing of life. Like, I'm going to personally not stop learning until I die. Like, well, I am not. Yeah. I'm just not.
I think that no matter what, that's always going to be our case. I mean, we may not think we're learning, but we're learning, because I think basically what I hear you saying, at least in my mind, is we don't live in a vacuum. right? We don't live in this static world. We live in a dynamic world. And that dynamic, it's like fluid dynamics. It's like water. It's like the ocean, like we said earlier. It's constantly moving. The course, I'll give you an example. Let's say we're flying from here to Hawaii. It's pretty much a straight line. It's not, we don't move much, but yet we have to zigzag all the time. Course correction for weather, for headwinds, for tailwinds, crosswinds, altitudes. So yes, it's a straight line, but we don't take a straight line. And that's kind of what you're saying. I mean, life is not a straight line. It's not from beginning to end. But let me ask you this regarding people that look, everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody wants that golden ring. I'm assuming to what their standards are. Everyone has different standards, right? But people along the way fail, right? There's it's lined with dead bodies and dead souls all the way through the road to wealth. Why do people fail? Why does not everyone make it to that quote unquote wealthy world that they want, that utopia?
I believe 100% that it's because of how people react to the shit storms in life. Okay. So we all have challenges all day long. You as a pilot, you as a real estate investor, you as there's stuff all day long in my life. And it's how we react to the challenges and how we emotionally react. And so many people get too emotional or too caught up in the noise of the problem, and they're focused on the problem versus focusing on the damn result. And people aren't able to move forward. And it's literally, the emotion is stemmed from your beliefs on how you think. So if you wanted to pull that back even more, it's really how you think. It's your mindset. And it's like, we all get served up different things. And we all have different levels of problems, whether they're first world, second world, third, we all have issues. But it's all in how we're thinking about that issue and how we're reacting to that issue. I'm telling you, I run a multi-million-dollar investment firm. It's not because it's been given to me. At age 30, I made $18,000 a year. I was not gifted any money in my life.
You did all that in 1 year?
Yeah, I did. No, in 6 months, because I'm a woman.
Of course.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. With hair extensions, of course.
Yes, no, I got to get those.
You have them. You're just growing them right here.
I'm just going to grow them down here.
I'm kidding about that. But the reality is that nobody gave me anything. I'm not the most brilliant person on this planet. I had a vision, I had a goal, and I didn't let anyone get in my way. And if you peeled back my business, you would see, oh my gosh, you failed over here, you failed over here, you failed over here. But what was that one thing that kept me going? Is that I'm not giving up. It's a worth thing. It's a driven thing. It's consistency in doing the right thing on a regular basis that has allowed me to live this wealthy lifestyle, having a lot of money and having being happy with my money and enjoying it and knowing how much is enough and knowing the type of, where I'm going over the next 15 years. That's the missing ticket that we all get caught up in, is what are we chasing? What are we chasing and how do we react to all these failures? Because if I pulled your books, I would see the same stuff. It's I get tired of people trying to pretend if you just follow this, and this, you're going to, a straight line from here to Hawaii, you're going to get there. No, you got to go, you got to zig left to zig right. You just got to keep freaking going.
So let me ask you this. You've got this platform for the younger generation. I'm a big believer in triggers, right? There's triggers. Like if I go to the gym, my triggers in the morning is, getting all my stuff on and getting all my pre-workout stuff and getting in the car and driving to the gym. These are all triggers. When I get to the parking lot at the gym at 5 a.m., I'm going in. I don't get there and go, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it today. I think I'm going to turn around and go home, right? Because all these triggers have already been hit. And I think that everyone, whether they know it or not, I think we all work off of some sort of triggers. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but how do you get the younger generation, right? You've got this platform, they've got, access to the amazing Dawn. How do they get to the next level? How do you get them there? Is it triggers? Is it consistency, routine? What do you do?
Well, first of all, now that you talked about working out, I'm super distracted with your arms. You look at that. You are That's at right. the gym at 5 a.m.
Every day. Those are triggers. See, those are triggers that I have. Hey, look at that. Wow.
Right.
Got some guns.
I'm sorry. I think I did hear your question, but I was a little distracted after I'm like, yeah, you are at the gym at 5 a.m. I see it. Okay. So the triggers
You're
are
turning red, Dawn.
Right. Woo. I think the triggers are just people's pain points. Like what forces you? Like my husband, it's interesting. My husband said this to me last week, that discipline eats motivation.
I agree with that.
When you're going to the gym. And so we can't have 30 and 40-year-olds, the younger generation. Well, I call them younger. Some people are like, what do you mean? Those are old farts. Like, okay, my version of younger, because I might be in my 5th decade. I'm just saying I might. But regardless of that, like, what are the triggers? It's not the motivation, because they can't see tomorrow.
Right.
They can't, they can't see 5 years, like retirement, like, okay, whatever. But it's teaching them what is the current pain point, for me to get under the hood of the younger generation, if you will, is like telling them, you don't have to give up your today to plan for tomorrow. Like, I don't. No. In fact, you're going to actually feel like you have more money today when you start to plan the way I help people plan. And I think the trigger is really getting them connected on the why, because there's so many reasons why starting a financial plan at 30 or 40 is like cheaper. It's so less expensive than starting it at 50 or 60. Like, so, getting under the hood of getting that pain point and those triggers, I hoping I'm answering your question appropriately. Your guns, like, confused me a little bit there. I was a little distracted, but yeah, I think the trigger is just the pain. Like, obviously your pain is wanting to look good and be healthy internally.
Well,
right?
I think
Strong.
To me, it's a matter of, I'm just a very focused, I kind of compartmentalize a lot of things in my life. I make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm in that moment and I'm focused. Like when I'm flying the airplane about to land a 777 aircraft with 380 people on board, I'm not talking about working out. I'm focused on landing the airplane. When I'm at the gym, I'm not talking about flying because nobody really cares, right? So I've learned that, yes, it may be cool, but nobody cares. And so I've learned to compartmentalize. When I'm talking to my financial advisor, I'm talking about finances. We're talking about investing. We're doing those things. How does somebody stay disciplined and I agree what you said earlier, what your husband said, motivation's like a battery. It drains over time. You got to have a stronger why. Why do I work out? Because I don't want to be fat and out of shape and be miserable and get some, that's just not what I want. So my why is because I want to be in shape. The motivation is getting up, but that drains. It's the why that carries you through, right? That's what gets me up. Some days I got to get up at 2 a.m. If I got to be at the airport at 5, I get up at 2 and I go to the gym. Why do I do it? Because that's a trigger. I've got my trigger set up. So how does somebody create these triggers to carry them through the motivation to keep that discipline over the next 30, 40, 50 years to get them to that quote unquote wealthy position?
Yes. You call them triggers. I call them the core values. Like having people really understand what is the thing they don't want to do life without. You don't want to do life without, feeling healthy. You're like, I'd rather die than be fat and old and, sitting on the couch. Like that is not you.
Right.
So that is your value as health. And so what we do is we uncover people's values. It's one of the first steps in financial planning is uncovering what their values are. Like what makes them tick? What is that pain point? And getting beyond that of like, how do you want to do life? Great. Well, you know what? Those values might change a little bit over the years, but they don't go away. And so like understanding what your values are and how you tick and what motivates you is going to motivate you to take action on being disciplined with your, having a spending plan and having a savings plan. I'll tell you this, I help clients build a spending plan. We don't freaking do budgets, but we create a spending plan in alignment with people's core values. So what I do is I teach people how to figure out what their real net income is. So it's your gross income, obviously minus your big tax bill and minus the amount you're allocating to save for the future. So maybe you're saving 10% of your gross income for the future. Like after you've paid your taxes and you've committed a percentage of saving, you get this real net income number. And then I teach people to have guilt-free spending. 25% of that real net income, that's guilt-free spending on their core values, the things they don't want to do life without. Is it health? Whatever. Go ahead and spend your money there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stop spending on the shit that's not a core value. That's money that you're wasting away. And we're going to turn that into compounding interest for your future. So you have this nice balance of spending and saving for today and tomorrow. So the trigger is those core values.
Okay. So let me ask you this, moving forward on that topic, how do you get people to block distractions, to block the shiny object that, hey, I just found this amazing shoe or these amazing hair extensions I've just got to get, or, whatever it is, or the Bugatti that I've got to buy. How do you teach people to block that out?
It's going through priorities, right? So we all have distractions. It's a choice. Like, our distractions are a choice. I can go after this podcast and go eat chips, or I can go have a handful of almonds. We all have to be responsible for those distractions in life. So it's about prioritizing what's really important to you. So it's giving people and teaching them the tools to say, you have a choice to spend on A or B. Maybe the purse is more like it's your desire right now. Great. As long as it falls within this bucket of money, this 25% of your real net income, go do it. But just remember, you have to prioritize. You bought that purse now. That means you can't have the shoes and the hair extensions as well, unless you can afford those. It's really about working within a pot or a bucket of money and understanding that you're responsible for those distractions, and it's about prioritizing them. Like, we all have that issue.
Yeah. The one thing I hate is when someone tells me they deserve something. I'm like, you don't deserve you don't deserve anything. Maybe you deserve to get air, breathe. I get that, but nobody deserves, like, I deserve this vacation, or I deserve this car. I'm like, just make a decision and say, you know what? I want it. I understand it's a liability. I understand it doesn't make sense, but you know what? I want it anyways. I'd rather you say that than try to justify. It's like, are you convincing me or yourself? I don't understand, because I really don't give a shit if you buy it or not. It doesn't affect me. If you want it, buy it. It's like people say, like, oh, I deserve a weekend. I'm like, just say you want to take a weekend off for yourself. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life. But if you're lying to yourself, it affects yours. And this may be a strong word, so you can take it how you want, but what part of this industry of what you do, what part do you hate?
Don't
say you love it all, because that's a lie. So
it is a lie. Absolutely. You know what? You mean in the industry as a whole, or what I personally hate?
Just what part of this you're just like, fuck, God, I hate this. Whether it's people doing stupid shit, whether it's people not listening to you, whether it's, people getting right up to the pinnacle and not like, maybe it's the propaganda, the marketing machines, the bank. Like, what do you just like, something that just rubs you? You're just like, God damn it. Like,
yeah, it's not necessarily people. I think the people in my firm, like, it's not so much people and their behavior, because they do listen. They're people that hire me want to listen. They want to take the feedback. They are, yes, I will do what you say because I trust you. I think for me personally, it's just, there's so many moving parts, and there's all this media noise out there of recession, of this, that. It's like, who the fuck cares about the recession? Who cares? Yeah, interest rates are high. You're spending, you know what? We got to back off a little bit. All that external noise that creates extra fear in our lives, where it's like, you know what? If you just have a financial plan, if you just have an airplane, it's going to weather the turbulence. It's going to weather the market volatility. In fact, what we're going to do, because of the market volatility, we're going to actually add a little bit more into the storm, because there's an opportunity right now. Like that, like all that external noise that creates people like, oh my God, what should I do now? It's like, not really. Like, we could make a little adjustments, but we're not unbuckling our seatbelt and jumping out of the freaking airplane. That's not what we're doing. So I think the media doesn't help.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's funny. All the people that were the experts, now they're ones talking about, what do you do in a recession? How do you save your house? It's like, well, don't buy a house you can't afford. Number one, how about that? Let's just start with that out of the gate. being fiduciary responsible. How about that? So I agree 100%.
Yeah.
What would you say, advice that you've gotten over the years and lessons you've learned? Is there anything that you would say has really just stuck with you and it's kind of become your core, kind of your spinal cord of how you operate?
Hmm. I would say life is all about balance. We can go back to an airplane too, right? It's about balance, and proper alignment. I will tell you that, I don't believe that. I mean, there's people that have also said to me, there's not such a thing in life as balance. But I think the closer we can get to achieving balance in life, that's the happier we will be. I don't believe we also are 100% happy. Like, you can buy all my materials, you can read my book, but no one's ever going to be 100% happy. And, until we probably cross over to the other side, whatever that looks like. We're not going to go into that today. But I think the advice is alignment. It's true alignment and balance in everything we do, and strive for that. I'm not saying you're going to get it in every season, but I'm saying, like, that's the best advice I can give and the best advice I've received, because, just like you, Steve, you're not just a podcaster. You're not just a pilot. You're a dad.
I'm not just another pretty face.
You're just not another pretty face. Like, you got a lot of stuff going on, right? You wear multiple hats to cover your hair.
Yes.
We all wear multiple hats. And I think it's about getting in alignment with all of that is the key. Because when you're out of alignment, life freaking sucks.
No, I agree 100%. And, just going back to touching on what you said, where is it written that we have to be happy? Like, I always think, like, I'm not happy. It's like, so, like, who said you were supposed to be? Like, a diamond is created out of pressure. You're either crumbled or you make a diamond out of it. I mean, it's the yin and yang. It's the constant pressure. It's like, if you making everyone happy, I guarantee you're making somebody not happy. I remember, I think it was Russell Brunson said, if you're not pissing off people by 12 o'clock, nobody knows who you are. It's just, it's one of those things. You're never going to make everyone happy. That's, it's like in any sports, someone wins and someone loses. That's just how it is.
But the goal isn't to make everyone else happy, but let me take a step back there with you. Like, isn't your ultimate goal with your life is to be happy?
Well, I think happy is defined by different things. I could be happy in a moment when I go away on vacation, or, happy is also building a business. But in the term of building a business, there's stress, but sometimes stress is good. Pressure is good.
Oh,
so
fear is good. I'll tell you, I've been successful because of fear, because of impatientness. Like, some of the worst things, the worst characteristics and personality traits that I have, ADHD, like, it has made me more successful. And I think that's the yin and the yang of life. I think it's taking your pain and turning it into passion. Life isn't all about, cherries and,
it's not sunshine and rainbows and, farting,
No.
lollipops out of a
No.
unicorn that you ride to work. I mean,
No.
it's just, look, I built a multi-million-dollar business with my business partner based on our failings of owning real estate. Had I never failed and had those sleepless nights and had to figure it out, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. Because I would never have a podcast, because I would not be in this position. So that came out of pain. Like, you learn more from the lulls than you ever will in the peaks and valleys. At least that's what I've always learned. And I'm not saying we should seek, pain, but I think that if you can somehow figure the lesson out in the pain, and again, I don't think that anybody deserves, I don't think happiness is always what people think it is, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And let me just say one thing with that too. Like, what you just said is so key. And for any parents that are listening, you gotta let your kids fail. I am a mother of 2 teenage daughters. It's hard as AF for me to let them fail. But like Steve just said, it's about, what takes them into that next level of life. And it's hard, but we got to do it. It's just part of the deal.
So Dawn, what is next for you? You've got this platform, people can find it. We'll have the show notes and everything, but what's next for Dawn? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. I have, my biggest goal is, I have a book coming out in April. It's called Live Wealthy. I'm super pumped about that. I'm going to be everywhere promoting that, because I think it's life-changing for people at any asset and income level. And my goal, what's next for me is that for the last 22 plus years, I've been sitting one-on-one with clients, Steve, and I love giving advice. I love helping people think differently and what's possible for them, but I'm ready to be on that big stage. So what's next for me is to get on the stage, inspire more lives, tell them, show them what they can do to earn more income and to earn more investment, and show them what's possible in their life if they just push through the fear.
I like that. I like that. Mm-hmm. So I got 2 final questions for you before we wrap.
Okay.
Just 2. Ready?
I got 3 for you. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. First question. When this is all said and done and Dawn is sunsetting, sitting on the porch with her family, or you're at your funeral, what do you want to be known for? Like when they talk about you, what do you want your history and everything about you to be summed up as?
Mm-hmm. I teach people to push through fear and know that they are in control of their destiny when they build both their worth and their wealth at the same time.
Nice. And is that part of what you're doing now, the next phase of your life, we'll say, of getting on stages, helping the masses?
Yep, absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that it's funny, I've kind of went from, I still am an airline pilot. That's out of a love, really. But I went from real estate investing to owning a business to now helping people. And I think it's the evolution of people. First you do, and then you teach. Some people never do and they teach, and that's pretty obvious, but the majority, the people that, and then you want to help, and teaching is helping. To me, it's all about helping people. And, the bigger the stage, the more people you can help. And I'm a big believer, your network is your net worth, I think. And, I'm a big believer in social currency. And I think that the more people meeting you never know where relationships go and hands are shaken and, hey, you should meet so-and-so and so-and-so. And, I've had many conversations with people that I would have never gotten in front of had I not shaken someone's hand. So it's interesting how it goes. The more people you help, the more people want to help you. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's about that possibility, right? It's about thinking outside of the box and what's possible for you to help more, achieve more, and live more. We all just want to live more and enjoy our life. And part of that is living and giving to others. And so what you said is perfect.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. My last question. If you want to
sitting too long.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my question. Anybody that you could sit down and talk to and have a drink, whether it's a whiskey or wine or coffee or whatever your jam is, whether they're dead or alive or even real or fake, like who would you want to sit down and really have an in-depth conversation? What would you talk about?
I know who comes to my mind right away. You can't laugh.
I won't laugh.
Promise?
I promise.
I am obsessed with Miss Jennifer Affleck. Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer, who just married Ben Affleck. And here's the reason. Not just because she's beautiful, though that helps.
Sure.
She was told, no. You're not good enough to sing. You're not good enough to act. You're not good enough to be on stage. You're not good enough to dance. Your body isn't like everybody else's. And she said, really? Watch me. And look at what she has done in the entertainment industry. And I think that's so powerful from a woman that came from the Bronx who had no network. And, she has talent, but she's not like Michael Jackson. She can't sing but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And I think it's pushing through you can't do X, Y, and Z. Watch me. And I love that. I would sit down with her and talk about that, the discipline she has and what continues to drive her and what made her strong even back in the day. That to me is an important thing to uncover, especially for women.
Can you guess who the number 1 and number 2 people are that have come up in this as I've done this?
Not J-Lo.
Not J-Lo, but no, not J-Lo. J-Lo's first.
J-Lo's first. Second would be Elon Musk, maybe. Or no? Okay, he's the richest
Dead or
billion-
alive, remember, real or fake.
God?
Nope. But you're close.
Jesus, I don't know.
You said it.
Jesus?
Yeah.
Jesus came. Okay, by the way, I was gonna say that too. So
Okay. And guess who
Yeah,
number two is? Number two, I don't think you'll guess, but I'll let you give it a shot.
Is it a rich person?
Nope.
Is it an entertainer?
Nope. Moved a lot of people. Changed
In a
the
bad
world
way?
history
Oh.
and not for the good.
Oh. Really? Hitler?
Yep.
Ugh.
Only for the reason of how he was able to move people. Because despite the bad shit that he did, obviously, but when you think of how he was able to move a nation and inspire people in the depths of their worst times, there's actually a lot to be said about that. Now, what he did and how he did it obviously was bad, but when you think about how he was an orator and how he's able to speak and incite people and charge them, pretty interesting.
Well, that also tells us how powerful the mind is, because he used the power of the mind and brainwashed and manipulated people into doing things that weren't appropriate. So,
have you watched the news lately? Another conversation.
Podcast number 2.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I do have to say, you do have that J-Lo look to you. I do have to tell you.
Well, you're my favorite podcast that I've ever done. Then maybe it's just because I like look at her stuff all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do. It's not the look necessarily, but it's the driven. So
yeah, absolutely. No, look. You can't take that away from anybody who's done that. I mean, without doubt.
No, right. Yeah.
All right. So, Dawn, how do they find you if they want to meet you and talk to you?
If they want to
learn
meet
from you.
You just need to look and just Google Dawn Dahlby, DAHLBY, website, social, every platform. The book coming out in April is called Live Wealthy. Just follow me for for guidance, because my passion and my mission is really about transforming your life so you have enough money to support exactly how you want to live.
I love it. That's awesome, Dawn. That's awesome.
Steve, it was a pleasure.
Dawn, thank you so much. I had a great time and you're a great sport and I really appreciate it. For those of you watching, if you want, there's information about Dawn in the show notes, and obviously you can catch her on the replay. This is on all channels. So if you did like this, please make sure that you like, comment, share, whatever you can. Give her some J-Lo tips, all that kind of stuff. Talk about airplanes, talk about turning right, not turning left.
Right.
And right. Next time you get on an airplane, you will think before you turn right. I guarantee you.
But you can't get in. Like I have tried to turn left. I'm not kidding, but it's always like shut normally, right?
You just got to become a better negotiator, Dawn.
Oh, love it. Yes.
There you go. All doors can open if you can negotiate your way through.
Yes.
That's what I say. So
I like that. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dawn. Well, thanks for being on, folks. Thanks for watching another episode of High Stakes with Steve Rozenberg. We'll catch you guys all next week on our next episode. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye.